I've disposed of every girl in my weight class. It's time to be challenged again.
She whooped Alexis Davis. She whooped Katrin Nano. That type of excellence is what the world of boxing needs. It's going to be good for business only in America. Can I make this fight happen?
Don King called me with the idea about leaving the MMA and, fighting boys. I said, sign me up. You'll have your champion.
Scared? You asking the Ferret Hurricane if he's scared? No, he ain't scared. He's in a period of mourning. Why is he in a period of mourning? Because he's gonna bury this poor child. He's gonna make her face real ugly real soon, Skip.
The Ferret Hurricane? He's a boxer? Oh, that's old school. Good for him.
She's going to stand in there. She's going to go toe-to-toe with that chump. She's going to fight for justice and equality. She's going to bring us unity only in America. Can this fight make a statement?
It's on! Let's get rowdy.
Rowdy Ronda Rousey in her first boxing bout, top sledding against the two-time champion, Georgie the Ferret Hurricane Pennington. Rousey wallops Pennington with the strength of 10 men, and it's over. Rousey has slain the Ferret Hurricane. This is the biggest disappointment in sports since the box score.
Start right now.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Power Tower for Box Score.
Hello and welcome to the Box Score. I'm Brock in Los Angeles. They are the Danettes in Milford, Connecticut. Guys, it was a huge weekend in sports, and we saw Holly Holm upset the undefeated Ronda Rousey to win the UFC's women's bantamweight belt. Now, Paulie, Rousey is the face of that sport. If she goes back and loses the rematch, what does that do for the sport moving forward?
Ooh, the rematch. That's a good question, Brock. Well, I don't really even consider it a sport. It's a person who is a sport. I don't think I could name 4 MMA fighters who are women. I can name a dozen who are men, and I don't even watch that sport barely. So it's like she is holding the sport together and kind of putting it even above the men. And I think this next fight between Holly Holm and Rousey is going to do monster numbers. And Rousey wins. It's the old boxing tradition. One wins, the other wins, rubber match. The whole sport is based on it. Boxing is very similar to like movies. You want to have 3, not 1.
All right, well, Holmes' win was an outcome that no one expected, MMA experts included. And the boss today talked about overlooking opponents.
You always have a chance. Always. In sports, you should never say no chance. Especially if you cover this for a living. Any sport, never say no chance. Red Sox, 0-4. Down 3 games to nothing. They got no chance. Yeah, they do. There's always a chance.
It's true that there's, we've just seen it so many times over the years, even way before all our times, where someone is just written off or a team overlooks one team that thinks has no shot, and then they end up paying the price because they were worried about the team that was coming up next on the schedule. I'm no UFC expert. I'm not going to profess to know what was going on in Ronda Rousey's head. I'm sure she took Holly Holm very seriously. I know she's been involved with all kinds of other things, and she's modeling, and she wants to be a movie star and be like a Wonder Woman type. But I'd like to believe that she was ready for the fight. She just got beat, and Holly Holm will, took care of business, and they'll have a rematch, and I'm sure they'll settle it with at least one more match. But I don't think, at least in this case, she was looking to some other opponent or didn't give her the proper respect.
Todd, you're known for watching women go at it late night on TV.
True.
Did you buy this fight or watch it with your friends?
I did not buy or watch the fight because I just knew it was going to be 2 women slugging it out, and bleeding. There was going to be bleeding and injuries and bruises, and that's not the part of the ladies getting it on that.
You're a lover.
I am.
Of course he is. Another lover, Jay Glazer, called into the show today to talk about the fight and said the catalyst might have been Rousey coming out flat.
Everybody in sports has off days and on days, right? And a lot of times you don't get to choose. And when you have an off day and it's fight night, oh well, that's part of it. That's on you. And conversely, Holly Holm, what I loved about what she did, like I said, she's had fights in the past where she comes down and she's won, but they've been methodical, picked somebody apart here and there. They've been kind of underwhelming. Her biggest moment, she pushed her breaking point the most. She stepped up. She said, I'm going to go get this. This is going to be unlike any other chance I ever get. And, it's what Buster Douglas did to Mike Tyson. It's what the Giants did to the Patriots that undefeated season.
So here's where I'm confused. I have a good buddy who's my MMA source who texted me on Sunday. He's like, I didn't quite tell you so, but Holm beat Rousey. He didn't even text me before the show, so I don't even know where that came from. So basically, Jay Glazer, who's the most renowned expert I know, he hosts the show on Fox, said that basically Holm has not shown anything, unless I'm mishearing what he said there, Holm had not shown anything up until that point which made anyone believe that she could beat Rousey. Just like the Giants hadn't shown anything to beat that they could beat the Pats, and that Buster Douglas hadn't shown anything to beat Tyson. But why is this one dude
I actually went through
saying
Twitter
that?
on Sunday morning. I looked at like the top people in MMA, like Ariel Helwani and all these other different people that were experts on the sport. And I went through to see if anybody even said, like, she has a chance, she'll win it if this, or I'm calling for the upset. I couldn't find one. And I mean, I guess you wouldn't, because what if you were like some big MMA person said, you know what, I'm calling Holly Holm, and she loses in 19 seconds.
Right.
You know, the odds of you being right are so little. Look at the big.
Then suddenly, after the fact, it could become so clear. Oh well, she's a boxer, and you one lucky punch that could be enough to beat her, and then all of a sudden, they can rewrite history.
That's right.
See, now you famously jumped in the octagon with Glazer a couple years ago, and he just barely edged you out. Was this just you having an off day?
Oh, clearly, it's the exact same situation. And to be honest with you, I was questioning why we even called Jay in the first place, because I questioned his expertise after me almost taking him down here. If I had a little more in the tank, and I should have capitalized more on him making that phone call mid-match there. But I'll tell you what, he's been ducking me for a rematch ever since. So, I think he knows what's up.
You know, I've always wanted to know for that video, what was the total amount of time Glazer spent in the room? Because it looked like he may have gotten out of a car, run in, did it, and gotten back into a car within, I'm saying, under 4 minutes. Is that fair?
Man, that's interesting. It's almost like he was going through the drive-thru at McDonald's. It was a very similar feel. Or like he went into like Dunkin' Donuts, got his coffee, and then went back out.
Was it car running?
Basically what happened there. Yeah, that was, ooh. Yeah. I'll never forget his sweaty head, just sweat dripping all over my face. It's so gross.
He's wearing slacks.
Yeah. Had a mouth guard in. Knocks me out. Brutal.
Oh my God.
But he doesn't want any.
He's running. I was there, Seton. It was a lot closer than scorecards would indicate. All right, stay with us. We're going to add some insult to injury. But first, you want to be just like the boss? How about this? You throw a cord of some nice seasoned wood in the back of your Ram 1500 Eco Diesel, take it over to your mother-in-law's, unload it, and then take it away. Just drive away. Drive back home, and don't worry, you're going to do it more fuel efficiently than the other half-ton trucks on the road. Get more facts at ramtrucks.com. Guts, glory, Ram. Welcome back to the Box Score. Ronda Rousey wasn't the only superstar who had us looking for answers today. It was also Peyton Manning, who went 5 for 20 with 4 interceptions before getting pulled. Now, it turns out he has a torn plantar fascia. Paulie, have we seen him play his last football?
His last football? That's a very, very good question, Brock. I'm going to say no. But the tough thing is it's very awkward going forward. If Brock Osweiler plays well, say he goes 3-0, we got a good team around him. What if he goes 3-0 and then they are staring the playoffs in the face? They have to win a Super Bowl. And if Peyton Manning doesn't give you the better chance, which I don't know, we don't know what Osweiler is, that's going to be very tough. But you know what? A couple people on the Twitter yesterday brought up something we brought up last week. If Fritzy would have periscoped you watching that I think that would have been great Periscope TV or whatever you call it.
So depressing.
What was the scene like?
The scene involved a lot of crying by my son, me being just really
And he's what,
down
14, 15?
He's 13, and he was not taking it well. He got really upset. He was screaming, getting really, really angry. I was a little more calmer, just being slightly more mature than my 13-year-old son, realizing that this just wasn't going to be their day. It's just not going well. They're not the kind of offense anymore that's going to come back from that kind of deficit. So that was over, and then we turned our attention to the Patriots.
By the way, we all agree that they're making up this injury because he's so bad, right? Is there anybody buying this torn plantar fasciitis? Have you ever heard of a torn plantar fasciitis? You have plantar fasciitis.
I can believe that. I didn't believe the whole that he was hurt or whatever to the point before the game where
come on,
where he couldn't play.
Come on.
Once he was out there and
we all know that guy at the basketball court who misses the key shot and is like, oh, my hand
So that
is
means,
hurt.
Fritzy, if you don't believe he's injured, then he just stinks.
I think that he's struggling. He's old. He's got legitimate injuries, but it's easier after the fact. Once you put him out there, and the 5 completions, Seton had mentioned also that stat of 5 completions, 4 interceptions.
Holy crap!
They had to pull him, but I think he was trying to protect Peyton by saying, "Hey, I shouldn't have put him out there. We knew ahead of time this may not go well," and he was probably too.
Have you ever talked to your son about not taking it so seriously, or is it not? Would that be hypocritical?
I have. It's hypocritical, but I have because it was more like do what I don't do what I do. Do what I say, and it was just it was bad. It got that much worse seeing because he had to go to school, and since we're in New England, there's a lot of Patriot fans, so it was bad enough that the Broncos he was going to hear a lot of grief about. But then when the Patriots won at the end, it was going to be a lot easier for him to get on him, knowing that these Patriot fans
He's a long way from the bar mitzvah,
and his Broncos lost.
He's a long way from the mitzvah.
It's a whole. It was just a
lonely road down.
It's going to be a disaster for him today.
Manhood, this is it.
Yeah, this is it. Boy, he turned a man. Well, Dan had Dr. Mark Addix on from DirecTV's Fantasy Zone. Fantasy Zone on the show today, and asked him, will Peyton return and bring hope back to the Fritz household?
It is a pain issue. So the question with a number of these injuries that don't lead to instability, don't necessarily put you at risk of further injury. It's all about the pain and whether you can perform. If you're going to go out and hurt your team because you can't perform, then obviously you shouldn't be on the field, but that's a difficult decision for an athlete to make. And I think that the athlete always feels that they can go out there and help their team. And yesterday we saw that Peyton, hurting as he is, had a lot more difficulty throwing the ball effectively.
It's a tough spot. He doesn't want to go out like that. This guy's, one of, if not the greatest quarterback ever. He's certainly in the mix of the top couple. He doesn't want, whatever plantar fasciitis. And now just hearing the doctor talking about that and defining what it is, if it's about pain, it almost makes it sound like it's not that serious. Well, you don't necessarily need surgery for it. You can, it's just how much pain you can take. And if you're telling an athlete, especially someone like Peyton Manning, that, and then the world knows, well, this is something you can play with. You just have to suck it up and deal with a certain amount of discomfort. I know he doesn't want to hurt his team, but as Paulie said earlier, this is a team where it's Super Bowl or bust. There's no way he's going to not play with an injury that is defined.
You've got somewhere between 2 and 5 hernias currently, and you're still going to the show every day.
I am. I'm still showing up every day. I got the abdominal thing. I got the groin thing. And
I'm estimating.
After doing those push-ups last week, I may have a 3rd or 4th hernia. I'm not aware of right now. But Peyton's got a tough decision to make, and it sounds like he certainly has enough power in the organization with Elway and Kubiak, where if it's just about how much pain you can deal with, I can't imagine him sitting out for any length of time. And again, we don't know what we're going to get from Brock Osweiler for a team that's expected to go deep into the playoffs.
This may be all for Peyton. McLovin, looking at the AFC West, what does this do for the playoff picture?
Well, I think the Broncos are still pretty safe. The Raiders lost. The Chiefs can only hope for a wild card, and San Diego has a terrible record. So it doesn't matter. I mean, the funny thing about every division, like, I saw someone tweet 5 of the 8 divisions are done. So, like,
what if the Broncos lost 3 in a row?
Who's going to catch them?
Does Kansas City?
Kansas City, they're all 3 in a row. I mean, it's not going to happen. I think their defense and running game.
Would you have thought that the Dallas Cowboys would have lost 7 in a row, or that the Bears would have won 4 in a row after being the worst team in football?
I would have.
You're saying it can't after the Ronda Rousey thing?
Yes, I'll bet you $100 the Broncos make the playoffs.
Well, that's an odds bet. You put up 1,000 to my 100 based on where they are. But I'm saying, but you make it sound like Brock Osweiler is not very well known. You've seen him.
His 2nd round pick. It's pretty high. Top 46 pick or something.
All right, we'll see.
Yeah.
Oh, so who are you picking? The Raiders?
I think the Raiders are more dangerous right now. Broncos still have a great defense, though, or good defense, very good defense.
Well, Seton, we all know what these games do to the Fritz household. Do you root against them so there'll be these heartache stories?
Well, that's interesting. No, I don't even think of them at all, to be honest with you, when I'm watching. I usually just focus on the handful of games that I like. Patriots, obviously, and then there's always... I'm way more invested in my FanDuel team than I am in Fritzy sitting in his horse head crying. What are they doing? What are you doing? Catch the ball! I like to imagine that, but it's really not on my mind at all when Sunday comes around.
All right. It's okay, Todd. Brock Osweiler. That's a great name. Are we right? All right. Coming up, it's an inter-office battle.
Paulie, homie, don't play that. Okay? Fritzy?
Good golly, Miss Holly.
I like the inflection. I like the read. I'm going to give it to you again, Fritzy. Well done. Paulie?
Want to hug it out. Rousey's entourage noticeably smaller after a shocking loss.
Fritzy.
Have a holly jolly upset. I think it's close enough to the holidays I can get away with it right before Thanksgiving.
All right, Fritzy, well done. Yeah, well done.
Welcome back to the box score. Congrats on the earlier win there, Todd. All right, guys, on a weekend like this, it was almost too much sports for one person to watch. Almost. So if you missed a headline or two, don't worry, we got you covered. No reason to frown. We're going to fill you in with this.
Mock Headline Battle Royale.
All right, I will give you a headline. You must give me a mock headline. First headline, Peyton Manning breaks the NFL all-time passing yardage record, gets pulled after throwing 4 interceptions. Let's start in the back row, and McLovin.
Peyton's place is on the bench.
Are you phoning that
Their delivery was A+.
Oh, then you made me laugh. Then you made me laugh and I lost.
Front row, Paulie.
Bench Peyton, Osweiler not.
All right.
Osweiler not. More than acceptable.
Fritzy, what do you have?
Broken record. Number 18 is Favre from the QB we're used to seeing.
Very punnable. And finally, Seton, your mock headline.
Bench stench. I guess that makes 2 inferior replacements named Brock. It's just content. It's just a joke. Just joking, Brock. Just joking.
The laughs are real, and so is the hurt. All right, second headline. Holly Holm KOs Ronda Rousey to become a new women's bantamweight champion. Front row and Paulie.
UFC at the rematch. Rousey's going to get paid.
Fritzy, your headline.
What up, Holm? After that match, someone should help her Ronda.
Seton, your headline, please.
Holy moly, Holly Holm humbles champion grappler. I had to stretch the H's. Champion grappler.
And finally, McLovin.
Ronda Rousey.
All right.
To the point. Our third headline. Otto, the skateboarding English bulldog, sets a world record for longest human tunnel traveled through by a skateboarding dog. Fritzy, let's start with you.
Throw him a bone here. Just another day in the bark for Otto. Best I could do.
I like the top.
Thank you.
All right, Seton, can you top that?
Probably not. Howell Peralta. Can we stop putting dogs on skateboards,
Oh,
please?
that's an old school skateboarding reference there. I respect it.
Howell Peralta. Howell Peralta. Stop putting dogs on skateboards.
He is gleaming the cube. McLovin, your headline.
The Otto Empire. Move over, Turkey. There's a new top dog in the region. Sort of throwing a lot of things in.
The Mongols.
A lot of things going on there.
Mongrels.
Yeah.
I love it. That's great.
And Paulie, your submission.
Finally, the skateboarding dog through a tunnel world record was broken.
I think we're all happy.
We've all been waiting for it.
Crowd happy with that. Finally, our last headline. Roger Goodell attends his first New England Patriots game of the season, Sunday versus the Giants. Let's start off with the front row and Seton.
Speaking of deflated balls, look who finally showed up.
Oh, snap!
Not affiliated with the Red Zone Jail.
That's a load. Fritzy, your headline.
Put the disclaimer.
Getting some air. Head honcho says he wouldn't commiss it for the world.
Ooh, I like it.
Commission.
Oh, Paulie, your headline, please.
Good old night and good luck with that.
Broadcast
CBS.
news. And finally, McLovin.
Stub flub. Pats fans cry foul after Commish scores a pair at the 40-yard line. Like he'd have to go on StubHub.
Scores a pair.
I have a cramp.
All right, the mock headline championship belt goes to McLovin and Seton. Gonna share it.
Yeah. Oh, a little combo play.
There we go. They would never make two people who weren't sitting next to each other share it.
Like Paulie.
All right, congratulations, gentlemen. Stick around. A Yankee legend gets called out. But first, this is the box score. We're taking a break to remind you that the Ram Heavy Duty, with its best-in-class towing, torque, and horsepower, doesn't need one. Get more facts at ramtrucks.com. Guts, glory, Ram.
We're starting with Derek Jeter because he's in a position that people haven't seen him in. As that interview goes on, I think you see Jeter more and more comfortable, and to the point where he brings up the rumors about what he gives women on their way out of the door with the gift basket rumor and the cell phone rumor in his house and all that. And then he's just talking like a guy, to the point where at the end of it, I was asking him these stupid, silly questions, and he was being combative back, and I said, "You're just a little bitch." And he laughed, and the audience laughed. Thank God he laughed.
Oh, the mouth on that Joe Buck. All right, we're closing up shop here on the box score. Joe Buck called in today and talked about his new series that he's taped for DirecTV called Undeniable. Now, Paulie, you said you've always wanted Michael Jordan. Say that Dan had 3 hours with a guest like Buck did. Who do you want?
3 hours. I don't think it could be anybody but Michael Jordan. If Muhammad Ali were still healthy, I think he would go with him over Jordan just because of the social impact. But that's a coin flip for me. I can't think of anyone besides a healthy Ali.
Maybe, how about this Pete Rose for 3 hours to see how far he could dig deep into something that there's a mystery about.
My initial reaction is that's too much for Pete Rose. Like, I think we could get, if you did 40 minutes of Pete Rose, I think you'd beat the topic to death. Because no one really wants to hear about his playing career, believe it or not. With Muhammad Ali or Jordan, you got so much else to go to.
You could tell.
And Jeter as well. I mean, Jeter's one of the tougher nuts to crack. I remember when Dan interviewed Jeter for the this SI thing, he asked him about being an owner. Would he want to be an owner? And that's the most he opened up of the whole thing, I thought.
Now, Buck told DP that all of his guests have cried so far. Todd, other than the Jerry West interview, what has been the most emotional interview on the Dan Patrick Show?
Wow. That's West came to mind because Dan himself was the interviewer as opposed to the interviewee was the one that was getting
I'm going to jump in. I'm going to say 2012, the Niners were playing well, and Stanford was in a coaching change, and Kawakami called in. And I had to leave the room.
Can I just say, too?
Incensed. Kawakami gets very emotional.
Yeah.
There was a San Jose Sharks goalie change, too.
Sure.
That
I
just
forgot that. I blacked out.
Yeah, it was a big time. We were, as a bookie, we were crying, because you knocked out 14 pro teams with one guest.
Right. I think the Golden State Warriors had a coaching change.
That's the guy you want for 3 hours.
Sure.
It's Kawakami.
Because really, literally, then you can give fair shrift to each team.
You can do the whole NFC West and even the Pac-12. I mean, it doesn't stop in the Bay.
2 hour, too. You're not even talking Oakland A's. You're not even talking
Haven't
Oakland
gotten there
A's.
yet.
Yeah.
San Jose,
All right,
First on, Tanya Harding got pretty emotional, but more angry.
Yeah, of course. Fritzy, please tell me that the booking gods have graced you with Tim Kawakami tomorrow. Can we get that?
A bit. Who's on tomorrow?
Who's on tomorrow?
We've got Clay Matthews, Ryan Tannehill, Reggie Miller, and we may hear from Matthew Stafford.
Oh, wow. Short and sweet. All right, very good. We are back tomorrow right here on Audience Channel 239. The podcast, of course, is available on iTunes or podcast1.com. Vive la France.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Hey, thanks for watching the box score. Holy cow!